reading. This one is called Barbie.avi. And here's how it goes. Hello, this thing happened to me a few months ago. I just needed to share it with somebody. It all started at my friend's party. He's an artist who rented out a loft in the industrial part of town. If you can picture what a place like Detroit looked like in the 1920s, that's what this area looked like. A bunch of old, turn-of-the-century factories crammed into 10 blocks. Most of them are abandoned. So I partied a little too hard that night and decided to crash on the couch right in the loft. I woke up at around 4 a.m. The sun was out yet, but you still make things out in the dim blue light. I went into the bathroom, carefully tiptoeing around the people that were passed out on the floor. As I was taking a piss, oh my god, I tiptoed to look out the bathroom window, and I saw the paranoia of deserted urban decay. I remember how much I liked places like this. It was so dark and devoid of life, and strangely scenery. So I went back to the couch and tried to fall asleep. 45 minutes later, of staring at the ceiling, I decided I didn't want to be there any longer. So I swallowed my pride and decided to wake up my girlfriend and beg her for a ride. Since walking around the vacant streets at this time was not an option, being an awesome girlfriend, she totally she was totally cool with it. Sounds a lot like mine. And told me she would be there in about half an hour, and that she would give me a call. Well, she was outside. My phone died 10 minutes later, so I decided I would sit by the window to watch for her car. I sat there for a while, and my eyes started getting heavy, and I began to doze off. A woke me up. Crashing noise outside woke me up. It wasn't loud, but just enough to snap me into reality. I looked out the window and scanned the air, but I didn't see anything. Across the street from the loft, near a mountain of garbage bags and one of those enormous dumpsters, I see a computer and a monitor smashed against the floor. That I hadn't been there before. When my girlfriend arrived, I went downstairs and greeted her. Just as I thought, just as I was about to get into the car, I remembered a friend of mine who had blown out his power supply. So I decided to walk over to the dumpster and see what I could salvage. The monitor was worthless, but the tower seemed to have suffered almost no damage. So I put it in the trunk and drove off and dozed off. And we drove off. And about a week had passed, and I had completely forgotten about the tower until my girlfriend called to let me know that it was still in the trunk and that she wanted it out. That night, I brought it home. Before I took it apart, I decided to hook up to my monitor to see if it still ran. And to my surprise, it did. It ran the Windows XP and looked like it had been wiped clean. I decided to search for words like tits and pussy in hopes of finding some secret stash full of weird, deviant porn the previous owner had forgotten about. Morbid curiosity, I guess. Search came up nothing. Search for picture files, nothing. Then I searched for movies, and one file came out. There was a .avi inside the folder titled Barbie, hidden in Windows / System 32 directory. So I played it. Now this is where it gets disturbing. The movie was about an hour long, and was made up of what seemed like raw exported footage. The footage was of a woman sitting on a chair and take, talking against a white backdrop. I skipped through most of the movie, and it was all the same continuous shots. I decided to sit through the footage to find out what she was talking about. 15 seconds of the footage, the audio goes completely bad. Our voice is drowned and harsh static slash background noise. Excuse me. I couldn't make out a thing. So I imported the footage into the Final Cut and tried to mess with the levels of ice. Her voice, it helped a little, but I still couldn't hear what she was saying. I was intrigued now, and I began to really pay attention to her face and body language. It seemed like she was being asked some kind of questions because she stopped at times to listen and then continues talking. About 15 minutes into the footage, her face begins to redden and contort, as if the questions are bothering her. I wonder what kind of questions she was being asked. But she continues to answer them. Anyway, shortly after, she begins to cry and sob hysterically. For the duration of the film, one of the few words I could lip read was skin. She repeats this word many times throughout the footage, and at one point she even pulls out her skin from her arm and mouths words. She seems to be unhappy with her skin. There is much more I have to get off my chest, but it's getting late and I can't go on. I'll share the rest of this tomorrow. God save my soul. It kept on building and building. In about 40 minutes, she was crying so hard that she could barely look at the camera. She stopped talking at this point, and the rest of the footage was her crying with her head down. Oddly enough, she doesn't get up or move. The screen fades to black. I was fucking dumbfounded. I played the whole thing through many times that night, trying to find inflictions and nuisances with her movements that would reveal anything else about what was going on. I felt so dissatisfied. I wanted to know more. That's when I noticed there was about 10 more minutes left on the timeline after the screen went black. About 2 minutes in, there was more footage. The footage was extremely shaky, almost unwatchable, and depicted a pair of legs walking along train tracks. My guess is that the camera was accidentally left on as it was being carried somewhere. The person in this footage walking along the train tracks for about 6 minutes, then turns into the forest and walks over what looks like foliage flattened by a piece of plywood. The person continues on this makeshift plywood until the movie clip ends. Now my heart is starting to beat with excitement because there were train tracks a few miles away that looked like very similar to one in this video. I had to check this out. I called my friend Ezra. He's 6'4", 220 pounds of mostly muscle. I convinced him to go on this little adventure with me. I'm no pushover myself, but I felt it if I was wandering in the woods looking for God knows what, extra muscle couldn't hurt. The whole idea of investigating the video had me so excited I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I took my flashlight, my camera, my 6-inch Kabar with a matte black finish and serrated edge. I'm guessing a Kabar is some sort of weapon of, I don't know. I've heard the name before. Anyway, and went to pick up Ezra. When I got to his house, he wasn't even awake. When I woke him, he pretty much told me to fuck off. I was already packed, and I had mentally prepared myself to do this. So I decided to go through the forest with it without him. I parked my car at the train station, took myself, and hopped onto the tracks. After walking for about 2 hours, I saw a broken piece of plywood, and my knees almost buckled with excitement. Searched the nearby foliage, there was a little plywood trail leading to the forest. I slowly walked along this trail, paying close attention to everything. I would stop occasionally, kneel down, and listen for anything or anyone. But it was so quiet. This was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I didn't know what to expect at the end of this trail. Okay, this is actually getting pretty good. The dense tree line gave way into a little island of grassy field, and then I saw a house being consumed by the forest. From the looks of it, no one had lived there for 20, maybe 30 years. I got my camera, set up a few pics. A few yards away from the house was a tool shed made of rusty sheet metal. I just sat there among the trees for a while, absorbing everything. I didn't want to go into the open field. I had a bad feeling that someone would see me. It took me a while to muster the courage up to go to the house. The door was partly opened. I pushed it in with the flashlight and was relieved that the inside was actually well lit. I put away my flashlight, got my camera, and took a few more pics. There was no furniture. The floor was riddled with bricks and wood and rubble. Some of the walls had huge holes in them. When I went in further to explore, I saw some things I didn't pay much mind to in that moment. But now that I think about them in hindsight, they gravely disturbed me. The first thing that seemed a little odd was one of the doors in the first room that I presumed led to the basement seemed a little too new to be in this house. It was also the only door in this house that was locked. Also, when I made my way up to the second floor, I saw some chairs that had a fold-up table. That also seemed a little bit too new to be in that house. But what disturbed me the most, for some reason, was the bathroom. The dust on the mirrors had been wiped away. In the bathtub, I saw a clear plastic tarp that still had water droplets on it. I presumed it had been washed clean. That's when I heard something moan really loud. That's when I jumped out of the second-story window and ran back onto the tracks. Halfway, I realized the moaning was most likely the water pipe expanding or contracting. And that little moment of relief gave in to the horror which I felt when I wondered why the water would be running on in an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. It has been a little more than 2 months since this happened, and I haven't gone back there, nor do I plan to. Well, that was Barbie.avi. What do I have to say about this? Well, first of all, where in any part of that creepypasta was there Barbie? I can let some stuff go, but Barbie.avi, I didn't see any relevance to Barbie. Also, why? See if I can put this into words. Why is he in? Why is he in the house? Okay, let's see. Let's go back on this. Let's see. Right here. It says partied a little bit too hard as I tiptoed. There was a full right here. Why is he First of all, if you're searching up something on a broken window, broken something like that, if it's wiped clean and it's broken, don't go digging for it. Leave it alone. Also, if you see something really freaky like that, why are you gonna go back and read it some more? Why you can and also as where I guess is EZRA. I'm guessing I'm saying it right. Who cares if he is 6'4", 250 pounds? It could be 1'5" and 390 pounds. It doesn't mean anything. there's also some stuff on it. Maybe it's saying that that's how Barbie started, but Barbie was I think it was German. She was a German whore. Yeah, your favorite toy is a German whore, by the way. Don't want to ruin that for you. But it had a creepy build up of suspense and just left you on that. So I actually liked this one. I liked it pretty good. Wasn't scared, but I liked it. I would say, let's see, I'd have to give it a 7. 7 out of 10. Which is a lot better than Salt. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I appreciate any creepypasta that's given to me, but sometimes when you just give them to me out of the blue and they're not scary or nor do they make any sense, that's kind of when it gets annoying. This has been Minecraft reading Barbie.avi, and I will see you next time.